Alright, here we go. Good morning, good afternoon, good night, whatever time of day you may be listening. Welcome back to Basement Sports Podcast. I'm your host, Matt Polig, my co-host, Corey Ozuito Pulaski to my left, your right. Today, we are talking something near and dear to our hearts, as you may have guessed by the decor on the table. We're talking Knicks. Woo! The New York Knicks are in the Eastern Conference semifinals. They are knotted at one game apiece with the Miami Heat. And the vibes are, I don't want to say immaculate, but the vibes are high. The vibes are not in the cellar, and that is what is important because for the 23/24 years we've been alive, a lot of the times our Knicks fandom has been in the cellar. So to be in the Eastern Conference semis with a chance to win it, tied 1-1 with Miami Heat right now, is a blessing. And let's dive right into it.
We're feeling good.
I'm feeling good.
Feels good to go to Miami, tied 1-1.
I mean, yeah, obviously when you have home court, in a dream world you're up 2-0, but at a minimum you have to go 1-1. You can't lose both at home.
We would have been dead. Season would have been written off had we lost that game. You can't lose that game too either.
No, the way it shaped up.
Without Jimmy Butler, it was a lot closer than it should have been, than it had to be. But, you know, a win is a win, always.
Amen.
But when we're talking postseason basketball, when you're talking the Knicks, like you said, we haven't experienced this much. We ain't getting picky.
No.
We ain't getting picky.
No. You know what? And, I'm not going to sit here and shit on the Heat players. I'm going to do that in a couple minutes, but not right now. I'm going to be polite right now. And credit to Eric Spoelstra. Somebody on Twitter said Eric Spoelstra can go to the local Y, pick up 7 dudes, and turn them into an Eastern Conference finalist. And, I low-key am starting to believe that.
Remember that LeBron James has never played for a good basketball coach.
Oh, yeah. Remember that.
Eric Spoelstra is probably a top 2 or 3 coach in the game right now.
Oh, yeah, for sure. And has been since he's been down in Miami, down in South Beach. Has he been blessed with great talent? Absolutely. I mean, but at the end of the day, that bubble team wasn't the best roster in the East by any stretch of the imagination. Like you mentioned, Game 2 was closer than it should have been. And that's a lot of credit to Spoelstra. So, tip of the cap to him and the rest of this coaching staff and the guys that make this Miami team so deep. But, I think one of the things that I love about the Knicks and benefit the Knicks is that they also run pretty fucking deep. So, this was never going to be a sweep in either direction. I don't think this was ever either going to go 5 in either direction. I know obviously it still can. But, hey, you split the first 2, now you get a best of 5. It's wartime. Let's fucking go.
And they're guaranteed to go back to the Garden too, which is huge. But also the fact the Knicks have been better on the road this year. People don't know that they've been better on the road than they've been at home. They took 2 out of 3 from the Cavs out in Cleveland, so you gotta feel pretty good. They went into Miami this year and have won. That was the big Julius Randle game-winning shot.
MSG South
game. They call it MSG South for a reason, so you gotta feel pretty good.
Yeah.
But let's go to where this started. Game 1 over the weekend.
Yes.
First half I thought we had that.
I felt
First
great.
half I'm watching that and I'm like, not only do we have this, I feel great about this series. Give me Knicks in 5. And then shit went south real quick. We couldn't make a shot.
Mm-hmm.
The Heat couldn't miss a shot. We're turning the ball over. We're doing all this. We're getting away from Knicks basketball. And we lost that game. What were your thoughts kind of after game 1? Were you hitting the panic button a little bit?
I definitely wasn't hitting the panic button as much as you. You were hitting the panic button after game 1, and then you were hitting the panic button on game 2.
Game 2 was scary.
In a quarter.
Game 2 was scary. You're lying if you say you weren't shitting your pants a little bit down 6 with 6 minutes left.
Hey, one of us had to be brave. It just so happened to be me. Game 1. I didn't enjoy watching it. It was the second half, I should say. First half felt great. RJ was playing out of his fucking mind. We'll get to him more as we continue to talk. But, hey, RJ, that's what I got to say about RJ right now. Josh Hart was doing his thing. The thing that hurt down the stretch, and I had this conversation with my buddy who's a Celtics fan, so he, is ultimately a Knicks hater. He told me how it was RJ's fault in the second half and how he couldn't create shots, he can't go right, this and that. I said no. The problem in the second half was the turnovers and the fact that Jalen Brunson went 0 of 7 from downtown.
We couldn't make a shot.
And listen, I love Obi Toppin. He's a great player. He plays his role incredibly fucking well. In no way, shape, or form, in any situation of any game at any point, do I want him shooting 11 threes.
But hey, he was 4 out of 11.
I don't care. I don't want him shooting 11 of them.
He was our best 3-point
I don't want him shooting 11 of them.
I wasn't hating it. Game 1, I wasn't hating because he was the only one that could make a fucking... We made 7 threes, so he had over half of our 3.
Yeah, we went 7 of 34 for a team. And that's why I wasn't stressing the series after Game 1. I said, we're not going to shoot 7 of 34. Like, the entire series.
Absolutely.
It was that. It was, we had 13 turnovers, 5 from JB. JB's not turning the ball over 5 times a night consistently. That's just not going to happen. Josh Hart played to a -8 plus minus.
Yeah, but look,
that's so uncharacteristic.
Look at these plus minuses. Mitch -13, Brunson -8, Hart -8, like you said. RJ -9.
Yeah.
It was just a terrible, terrible game. Quickly -4.
You know what the thing that bothered me about that game to Game 1 is, and like, I'm not going to discredit like him because listen, 25, 11, and 4 is a stellar stat line and just his presence is something. But we gave up 38 combined points to Kyle Lowry and Gabe Vincent. Are you fucking kidding me? No disrespect to those dudes, but are you fucking kidding me?
Even Kevin Love had 9, 5, and 4. I felt like I was watching fucking 2015 basketball with him and Kyle Lowry. That's what killed us. Yeah. I mean, it's clear that Gabe Vincent is a dog because he was giving it to us the other night, so we're learning to live with that a little bit more. It was fucking Lowry and Love that, they killed us.
And I'll say this, and I'm not gonna, again, like, alright, fuck, I'm just gonna say, it was on more than just Mitch, but the play that ultimately decided Game 1,
oh, absolutely.
There was 4.5 minutes to go. Somebody missed a shot on the Heat side. Mitch grabs the board, and what's rule 1 they teach you? When you are a big man in Little Pal and Rec League, what's the rule 1 when you grab a fucking rebound? You leave it up.
Can't bring that
You're the
down.
big fuck. You leave it up there. Mitch does not. He brings it down. Lowry fucking swats it, kicks it out. They end up getting another possession, and instead of a 3-point game with the Knicks going down the court, it turns into a 5 or a 6-point game, and the momentum was never there again for the Knicks. They never got within 2, I think. It was done after that. The 4.5-minute mark when Mitch failed to secure that rebound was when this game was absolutely coffin closed, shut, locked, key thrown out. And it sucked to see, especially because I saw a team in the first round against the Cavs defend the home court so well after not defending it in the regular season very well at all. So to lose Game 1 at home after they defended it so well in round 1, it was disheartening, honestly. Especially, like we mentioned, 23 years for me of pretty much torture and pain being a Knicks fan. So it was like, okay, like, and yes, I wanted to play the Heat over the Bucks. I didn't really care about that little number next to them as far as seeding goes. It was just matchup wise. I think it worked out better. But to lose the first game at home to the 8 seed, and again, the Heat are better than an 8 seed, especially with Hemi Butler, but still, it was disheartening.
Like, a few things too with Game 1, like, Jimmy had 25, but it felt like he didn't even do anything. There was a point in, like, either late in the third or early fourth quarter, and Doris Burke made a note of it during the during the broadcast. Like, it was like the first time that he forced a shot. He was on the right baseline, almost double team, took a fadeaway. And, like, I said the same thing. Like, that was the first time I've seen him, like, look for his shot, or attack and be a little bit aggressive. Like, that dude had, like, 25, and, like, he didn't take he took 1 3, he missed it. And, like, it felt like he didn't even do anything, which is kind of worrisome. That he could do that to us without it even feeling like that. But another thing about him, too, when he went down with that ankle injury, we did not take advantage of that
No.
at all.
Yeah. Tibbs and
that staff failed there.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, that happened with like 4 or 5 minutes left.
Yeah. I think it happened before the Mitch Robinson rebound, I was saying.
And we didn't take advantage of that
at all.
At all.
No.
I mean, I don't even think we scored. We did not score more than 4 or 5 points after that injury.
No.
Like, I mean, we couldn't even buy a bucket after that. And they're playing with 4 defenders.
Mm-hmm.
That was disheartening. Also, you know, we couldn't fucking shoot for shit. We shot 20% from 3, 7 for 34. We're already down Randall. I felt like this could have been a game where you say, all right, maybe throw in Fournier, see what he could do. Deuce McBride. I want to see Deuce McBride at some point in the series because, let's face it, Quinn Grimes has not looked that good.
Yeah.
And neither has Emmanuel Quickly has looked like shit.
Yeah,
he's looked terrible. And that's kind of like the X factor for the Knicks right now.
Yeah.
Like, you know, we could have handled the Cavs a lot better than we did, and, you know, we would be sitting better in this series if that dude could show. I mean, he was, top 3 or 4 player this year for us. Not counting Josh Hart, who came late.
Yeah.
I mean, the guy arguably should have won 6th Man of the Year, and he
should have won 6th Man of the Year.
And he's been absent. And Deuce McBride, phenomenal defender. We saw him for a moment against the Cavs, but it was a great moment. Locked down Donovan Mitchell, hit a 3 on the offensive end. I thought that could have been a game 1 where, you know, we rolled the dice and say, all right, we got to find something because, you know, we can't score, we can't buy a bucket. We look like shit right now.
I get
Let's try to change something up.
I get the, you know, these are the guys that got us here. These are the guys we've been rolling with kind of thing. But, like, listen.
It's the playoffs, man. Anything could happen.
And
we were down a guy.
I mentioned this about Aaron Boone in baseball and the Yankees. Like, Aaron Boone doesn't have a feel for the game. He's too analytical. And I'm not saying Tibbs doesn't have a feel for the game and is too analytical. But, like, that's a thing where you could feel and see, all right, these guys aren't doing it right now. I get they got us here and I get this and that, but why not give, you know, Deuce some, Fournier. I mean, shit, fucking.
Like, Deuce should be seeing minutes right now.
Yeah.
He absolutely should, with the way that Grimes and Quickly are playing.
For sure.
And Tibbs is totally like that too, where he lacks a feel at times, but he has been better as of late. That's changed for him. Like, talking about, like, Obi Toppin finishing out Game 5 over Julius Randle.
Starting Hart now. As opposed to running him off the bench.
You know, RJ, who has been good in the series, didn't close out the other night.
Yeah.
Because, you know, just that lineup was working a lot better for the Knicks. Things were going their way. So, you know, he has changed. He has gotten better there. But to me, you know, he's really got to evaluate Grimes and Quickly and say, all right, if these guys aren't going to give us what we need, you know, we've seen McBride come off the bench once this postseason, and he's done a good enough job. And especially, like, these guards are killing us, man.
Yeah, it's
Vincent
you mentioned Kevin Love, but it's the guards. Vincent, Lowry, like that. The fact, and no disrespect to those guys.
We can't lose.
Gabe Vincent is going to be a guy in this.
That dude, he's earned a lot of my respect
for sure.
The last couple
he can
games,
still fuck off,
but at the same time, we can't let him dominate like he has. Like, dude, give McBride, you know, 5-6 minutes in a game and just say, dude, we really could care less what you do for us offensively. Just chase this dude around.
I'll say this, and as far as, like, respecting Gabe Vincent and shit, look, I said he's going to be a guy. He's a hooper, but there's no reason he should be giving us more trouble than Donovan fucking Mitchell.
Oh, absolutely.
That's where the line is, like, what the fuck are we doing?
And it shows just how good of a job Spoelstra's doing.
Yeah, for sure.
You know, finding these guys shots and everything, but we gotta run these guys off the 3-point line. We have to guard that pick and roll better.
Which, like, especially because coming into the series, everyone talked about how Miami wasn't a great deep threat, this and that. Where the fuck have they been beating us? On the perimeter. They're not beating us down low. They're beating us on the fucking perimeter. So
they've been hitting their shot, which you have to tip the cap to them.
Yeah, for sure.
But we could be better defensively.
Oh, for sure. Easily.
The last thing I want to focus on Game 1, the Game 1 loss, The Heat are 17-24 on the road this year. All right?
Yeah.
This is the last time I want to talk about or even think about surrendering another game at MSG.
If they don't if they don't protect home court, I mean, they have 2 left at MSG if you have to go to 7.
Which I hope we don't, but...
I prefer not. I prefer to get this done in 6, but... listen. If you're going to Game 7 and you're losing that game in the Garden, you're screwed. Yeah. So... That's what I'll say. But let's jump to the positive vibes, more positive vibes.
Game 2, phenomenal, second half, especially fourth quarter. The first half could have been a heck of a lot better than it was.
Yes.
I mean, we went into the half trailing, and
trailing by 3.
They haven't looked like the Knicks that we saw in the Cavs series up until probably we saw it in that first half of Game 1.
Yeah.
And then we started seeing that in the fourth quarter of Game 2.
They gotta play a full game.
But
that's all it is.
I want to see some more aggressiveness. Be more physical. Have that attitude and energy about us, which we saw in the fourth quarter, and that's why we came away with that win.
Yeah.
But, like I said, we came away with that win. Jalen Brunson, dude had a game. He had a game when it mattered. He had a slow start.
Yeah.
We talked about, I took him 7 points in the first quarter. I thought he would come out swinging.
Mm-hmm.
He was the opposite of that.
I told him not to do that for the record.
And that's why I was starting hitting the panic button a little bit. I'm like, all right, if this dude ain't going to show up for us, then, we might be finished here.
He says hitting the panic button a little bit. He was slamming that panic button.
I was fucking scared.
He was. I think he texted me 4 minutes in. This game's over. I said, dude.
It felt like that.
I said, game of runs. It's a game of runs. That's what basketball is. And, in Game 1, the Knicks really didn't get a run in the second half, and that's why they lost. Game 2, what did they do? They got their runs, and, that's what happens. JB put up 30.
The mid-3 were phenomenal.
The mid-3 were
30
great.
30 from Brunson, 24 from Barrett, 25 from Ray.
Yeah.
And we talked about the plus minuses earlier. Plus 14 for Julius, plus 4 for Mitch, plus 12 for JB, plus 16 for Hart. RJ had a -5.
That's RJ, though.
I'm not going to buy into that too much. That's why we'll use plus minuses when they're in our favor. When they're not in our favor, we'll say those things.
It's like football season. Pro Football Focus only sucks when it doesn't help my argument. When it helps my argument, Pro Football Focus is a very legit source of information.
But what a great game. Julius Randle needs his credit. 25,
for
12,
sure.
and 8. I still hear from people...
Shout out King Julius.
Listen, I get that, he's not perfect. Sure. But I still hear from people complaining about this guy, this and that. And sure, I'll complain about him sometimes in the game if he makes a mistake, but how are we still complaining about this dude overall as a basketball player, seeing what he does for us? And sure, you could have attacked him, ridiculed him last year because of his attitude and everything like that. I think you had a valid point there. But he's changed that a lot this year. That also goes with winning. But we don't win this game without him. Because when JB was struggling in the first half, he was picking it up for us. And the guy was a dog all night.
Mm-hmm.
And 25, 12, and 8. That was... this was the biggest Knicks game in a decade.
Yeah.
Easily.
Literally.
Yeah, you could talk about, round 1 against the Cavs. We won 4 games to 1.
Yeah.
So there weren't many pressure situations. We got our shit handed to us against the Hawks a few years ago. We never really had a chance to play that big game. This is a Knicks team. I don't care what you say. You could call us homers or not. They have a chance. They have a chance.
They do.
Not only win this series, but to make a run to the Eastern Conference Finals and try to make some noise there.
Listen, they're beat up, but let me tell you, those 2 teams on the other side of this Eastern Conference bracket, they're going to go 7.
Yeah.
And
listen, when you have that opportunity in front of you, we can't afford to go down 2-0 here.
For sure.
This was the biggest Knicks game in a decade. Hands down. No question. And all of these guys showed up. We're going to give all of them their flowers. But starting with Julius, that was huge, especially for a guy who didn't show up in the postseason 2 years ago. And, from that point, from that Hawks series to the end of last season or the beginning of this season, I mean, he was public enemy number one in Knicks fans' eyes. I mean, we were ready to ship him all. We're done with him.
He was in trade packages. Some of them were trading him for Mitchell.
So, give the dude credit, man. Give the dude credit. We're not here this season without him, and we're not going into Miami, tied up at 1-1 without that performance. So,
for sure,
King Julius, he needs it. He deserves that.
I mean, they all deserve their flowers in their own way, except maybe Obi, who did play like dog shit in game 2. But that's Obi, we'll give you a pass. I mean, when the fuck does the conversation of Josh Hart being the greatest deadline acquisition in NBA history start happening?
That dude is phenomenal.
Because
he needs to be
a Knick for life.
Extended.
For life.
I'm ready to build the statue.
I'm about there because this motherfucker. Can I say what I want? Oh, man. I'm not gonna say it. 14, 11, and 9 assists. 1 assist away from the triple-double.
In the biggest Knicks game in a decade, he did that.
Plus 16. Certified dog, Josh Hart.
That 3 he hit in the corner was massive.
Dude, he fucking balls. He's awesome. I love Josh Hart.
He's just New York.
He is.
He's New York.
Yeah.
He reminds you of those guys from the 90s. Mm-hmm. He reminds you a little bit of a John Starks who, just has that chip on his shoulder and it's, it's my guys versus y'all. Yeah. If you ain't with us, fuck
you're against us, yeah.
And definition of a dog, dude. Yeah. He has come in, when he came in the Knicks, how many games did they win in a row? It was like 7 in a row.
Yeah, we ran off 9 in a row at one point.
I don't know if he was there for all of them, but it was a long stretch when he came to New York that they didn't lose. So it's from day one that this dude he's been the guy. And shout out to Leon. Getting this dude for, a draft pick and Cam Reddish.
Yeah, and Cam Reddish was rotting on our bench. And
no disrespect to Cam Reddish, but
he ain't Josh Hart.
Bro. So not only, just getting this dude at the right time, trade deadline, and him being phenomenal. What we gave up, scraps, to get this dude, like you said, one of the best trades that you could think of in recent memory.
Oh, for sure. At a deadline. Obviously, off-season trades are a little bit different. But at a deadline, it's remarkable. And then I do want to talk RJ. You mentioned the -5, +, whatever. I'll ignore that. I'll say this about RJ. And RJ was drafted in 2019, one of those.
The famous Zion
Ja RJ. Listen. You can make an argument that in a redraft, you take RJ 1. I get what Ja is, and I understand that Ja probably is a better one-on-one hooper than RJ, but Rowan Alexander Barrett Jr. deserves way more credit than even his own fan base wants to give him. Mm-hmm. Okay, RJ Barrett was literal dog shit games 1 and 2 against the Cleveland Cavaliers. I could have shit out a pile of legit shit that would have played better than RJ.
I think I tweeted out, this is the worst basketball player I've ever seen.
Listen, and there's been regular season games like that when I've been like, and listen, he'll attest to this. I've been an RJ guy since day 1. Ignore the video of me crying when we lost the lottery. Other than that, I've been an RJ guy. I've defended that motherfucker through and through. I said, give it time. He's super young. Give it time. He's super young. And what has he done the last fucking 5 games now after those first 2 in Cleveland?
He's been phenomenal.
He's been phenomenal. Knicks fans even don't want to give this dude his flowers. You can say what you want about RJ. He put up with some crap early on in New York. Yeah, he had that playoff run where we got shit on by Atlanta. But then last year, like, him and Julius, he was taking the fall for shit Julius was to blame for. Mm-hmm. And, like, listen, playing in New York, that's part of the meta. I understand that. But at the same time, the kid was 20 years old. He's 23 now. Because I'm older than him.
And look what we're doing.
Yeah, right? What the fuck did we do wrong? Blame our parents. They didn't give us the right genes or something. That's fucked. But RJ deserves way more credit than even his own fan base wants to give him. He's been absolutely phenomenal.
24 the other night. He made 5 threes.
He's still a question mark on defense. I understand that. I get it. Blah, blah, whatever.
Here's another. I mean, we talked about Brunson struggling in that first half. RJ had 16 in the first quarter the other night. So once again, I mean, you don't get that from him. We not only lose this game to a Jimmy Butler-less Heat, I mean, we probably get blown out. Yeah. So the dude showed up right off the bat. And now he didn't close the game out like we said, but he's doing everything he needs to do for this team to get to where we want them to be. He's picking up some of that slack, his own slack.
I'll say this. There's some points in the regular season in certain games, RJ gets the ball at the three-point line, and I'm praying to God he does not fucking shoot it because he couldn't hit water if he fell out of a boat. I don't feel like that right now.
5 of 9 the other night.
When we're struggling on offense, I'm literally saying, get RJ involved. Get RJ the fucking ball. And that's an awesome feeling. This was the 3rd overall pick, just 4 or 5 years ago. This is what he got, that extension, right? He got that, 7 or math. He got that big fucking extension. I'm fucking exhausted. He got that big extension. This is what you want from that guy. Get him the pill, and he'll fucking do what he needs to do. And that's what he has been doing. Like you said, he picked up when JB was down in the first half. He was phenomenal in the first half in game 1 when they had, the lead going into half. Listen, I've said it once, I've said it twice, and I'll fucking say it again until I'm 6 feet under. The X factor is probably RJ Barrett. You know what you're going to get from JB. Randall's about the same every night. You know what you're going to get. It's what are you going to get from Rowan Alexander Barrett Jr.
We need him to be there.
We need him to be there.
You know what else we also need, though? We had one of the best benches in the NBA this season.
Yeah, led by Emmanuel Quickly.
And we cannot get just 12 points from our bench.
I do want to get...
And that 12 came later in the game. There was a point in time where we had 2, going into the second half, had 2 bench points.
Yeah.
Obi can't have 0. Hartenstein was phenomenal.
I was going to say, I do want to give Hart his props because Hart's been phenomenal as well. He got a nice ovation from the MSG crowd when he came off at the end of game 2.
He's been a phenomenal pickup and phenomenal this entire season and postseason.
For sure.
But outside of that, Quickly, 6 points. Grimes, 26 minutes, only 3 points. That's got to change. Our bench, our second unit, has been strong, man. And part of that, we lose Josh Hart coming off the bench, filling in for Grimes, but that's a move that we both said, had to be made. But we got to get more from Quick. Obi had a good game 1 starting, filling in for Julius, but he was dreadful in game 2. We got to pick that up. There's no reason that the Heat with Duncan Robinson, Cody Zeller, Kyle Lowry, and fucking some dude, Highsmith. Haywood Highsmith. That dude just sounds terrible.
No,
there's a point in time he had 5. I remember Tommy Beer tweeted it. He had 5 points off the bench and he was outscoring our entire bench. That can't happen. There's no excuse for those 4 names to be outscoring us, to be outplaying us. So that needs to change going into games 3, 4 in Miami, the rest of the series. Because, like you said, you basically know what you're getting from Brunson and Randall. Josh Hart has been phenomenal doing what he's going to do. It's just, we need RJ to show up every night like he has been from game 3 against the Cavs on. But to me, it's RJ and that bench. If you get both of those to combine well, and it's mainly Emmanuel Quickly. Yeah. So you could really just say RJ and Emmanuel Quickly. If you get those two going along with what we have, this is a team that it might seem like a long shot, but they could get to the Eastern Conference Finals and compete with a Boston and compete with a Philadelphia.
Yeah, Philly scares me a little bit more than Boston. It's crazy to say recording this post 40-point blowout by Boston, but
it's just because we don't have as good as Mitch has been and Hart and Stein have been. We don't have a Joel Embiid stopper. Embiid, he just poses a massive threat for us. Yeah, he does. The rest of this series, Game 3 on Saturday. That's ABC. Game 4 is Monday. And then it's every other day, basically Wednesday. I lost track of days just looking at these dates. But these 3 days off are killing me, dude. I'm ready for Knicks game tonight.
The Knicks Friday night. The NBA schedule in the playoffs, I'm all for no back-to-backs in the playoffs. There should not be back-to-backs in the playoffs. There is no reason you need 3 days off. I had this argument this morning with my buddy. He was like, they don't count the travel day as a rest day. I said, that's great. They don't need 2 days of rest then. He goes, no, they don't. I said, Trey, we have 3 days off. He was like, what? And I was like, yeah. I'm like, that's ridiculous. I think the Nuggets series did the same thing.
It's going to help the Heat out a lot with Jimmy. It's going to help us
out,
too.
I mean, Julius and...
Just for our sake, man, I'm just ready to watch basketball. One thing, too, we wanted to talk about Game 2 at MSG. Crowd was amazing. Yeah. Atmosphere was amazing. You could feel it from the TV. I want to be there so bad.
I just can't afford it.
If these tickets dropped below, I'd be willing to spend like $250.
They wouldn't drop that low, but
they got down like as low as like $305 the other night, and even then I might do it. I want to be there so bad, but phenomenal atmosphere the other night. One of the greatest. That moment after the Brunson 3 when John Starks was losing his mind and Melo's going crazy. That might be my favorite moment ever as a Knicks fan.
It was awesome.
That was an unreal moment. MSG was buzzing, and you got two of the best to wear that uniform.
Yeah.
Going nuts. And it's awesome to see these guys like the stars.
It's
Melo,
awesome to see that show.
Amare was there.
Stat was there.
Ewing has been there.
Yeah.
Starks has been there like every game.
Mm-hmm.
It's good to see these Knicks legends, the dudes that, these guys from the 90s that...
Give them all rings when we win.
They were playing... they were in those battles. They got us to the finals. It was great to see that. It was also great to see the wonderful Miss Jessica Alba. Man. Yeah. Shout out to my guy Sauce Gardner. Rizzing her up a little bit.
Riz guy?
She's a married woman, but Sauce was playing the game right.
Hey, Sauce is playing the long game.
Listen, if it takes Jessica Alba to get in those stands for us to get wins to win this series, to get to a finals, let's get her there every night, Julius.
Hey,
Julius got her there game 2.
Yeah. Get Aaron Rodgers there every night if we need to.
Absolutely.
That dude's living the life, living this New York tour right now. That's been cool to see. I know you're stoked, but even as somebody who isn't a Jets fan, it is cool to see.
Just one quick note on Alba too, like these celebrities that are in their like 40s and 50s. What diet are they on? What are they eating? What are they taking? Because why do they look as good now in their 40s and 50s than they did?
There's some lab out
in their prime. I say in their primes. Jessica Alba's still in their prime.
Yeah, some people don't.
Father Time lost that battle.
Yeah, there's a couple out there in Hollywood that Father Time can't defeat.
She looked good.
Looked great.
She looked that. The Knicks win looked great, but that might even look better.
Yeah. All right. Game 3 on Saturday. We talked about what it's RJ, it's quickly. They just got to play their game. They got to play a complete game. They played half one in game 1, and then they played the fourth quarter in game 4. You got to connect the dots, play all 4 quarters like that. You got to take one in South Beach here. You got to get home court back.
And it's game 3 is huge because you don't want to have that pressure on yourselves for game 4.
Because if you lose game 3, game 4 is all of a sudden a must win.
Yeah, absolutely. And we just got done with a must-win game.
Uh-huh.
You don't want to have that again.
Yeah, which I understand. Like if you win game 3, lose game 4, then game 5 is a must-win. But it's a little bit more time.
Listen, the Heat, The Heat haven't had pressure on them at all this series.
That's the thing. Mm-hmm.
And they still really don't have it. The pressure is more so on the Knicks, probably as the favorite to win this series. They have to go on the road now and play in South Beach. So the pressure's still on the Knicks. It's about time that we flip that and put some pressure on the Heat, on Jimmy Butler, on Gabe Vincent. It's a lot easier to make these shots, when there's not as much on the line. And I feel guilty saying that a little bit because it's the playoffs, and I hope you understand what I mean. I don't want to keep saying the pressure is not on them. I don't want to beat that fucking dead horse. But, for Gabe Vincent, let's see if he can make these shots now, with Miami down in the series. And,
that's the thing.
With the Knicks putting
Put them in a hole.
Exactly.
Put them in the hole, see how they react.
So Game 3 is massive. It's massive because, you take that game, then Game 4...
Game 4 becomes
the nerves
house money.
Nerves are running deep in that Heat locker room. They do not want to go back to New York.
Down 3-1.
Down 3-1 where the Knicks could close out a series.
Mm-hmm.
So, man, Game 3 is huge. Absolutely. And Jimmy Butler, there's no way in hell he doesn't play.
Oh, yeah, for sure. He would have played Game 2 if they lost Game 1, too.
Yeah.
Like, that was all the fact that they won Game 1. Like, he would have been out there had it been Game 7.
But listen, the Knicks got to go after him.
For sure.
On the defensive end, force him to play defense, force him to make plays with that bad ankle.
Mm-hmm.
And, similar to, Game 1, force somebody else, another guy or two to step up and beat you.
Mm-hmm.
And, credit to Miami, they had those guys in Game 1.
Yeah.
That veteran presence of Lowry, who's won a championship, and Love, that's won a championship. That's big for the Heat. It can't go, underlooked, understated. But, like you said, Jimmy Butler would have played Game 2, but Jimmy Butler is also beat up. That's a tough ankle injury. Ankles suck.
Allegedly, it was like the size of a fucking baseball, which...
Yeah. I've been there. So, go at that dude. Now, he's one of the doggest dogs in the league.
There's a reason they call him Himmy Butler.
So I don't want to poke the bear too much.
Yeah, I know, for sure.
He looked pretty confident leaving MSG the other night, but put the pressure on that man. Go take Game 3, and we will all feel a lot better.
For sure.
Because I've been very nervous. I've been too scared so far in this series. And we haven't even played our best basketball. Like, we won Game 2.
Listen.
But we won Game 2 without them having Butler, and, it took a great fourth quarter to do so as well.
This is why I'm not stressing nearly as much as you. What did it take for them to beat us? No did we even mention the fact that Randall didn't play Game 1? I mean, no Randall and Kyle Lowry and Gabe Vincent to play probably their best basketball all season. And they beat us by what, 7? And then in Game 2, again, I get it, they had no Butler, but at some point, I hope, again, maybe he's going to prove me wrong and just show that he's a doubt. At some point, they got to miss, right? And I know Gabe Vincent went 4 of 12 from deep in Game 2. That's not great. But, like, Caleb Martin, 4 of 8. 3 of 7 for Strus, are solid.
They shot 17 of 49 from 3, which is just about 35%.
Which, like, for them is good because they're not necessarily strapped from behind the arc any way, stretch of the imagination, especially without Tyler Hero. But it's really the fact that in Game 1, without Randall, it took all of that to win by 7. I'm not nearly as stressed as you are.
I don't anticipate Caleb Martin playing as good as he did the other night, especially shooting 4 of 8 from 3.
Yeah.
Like, that's a big one. I think the big things with Strus and Robinson, make them put the ball on the floor. That is one thing that has disappointed me so far this series. We haven't been disciplined defensively enough. Like, we need to be in these dudes' chests, hands up, run them off the three-point line, and force those dudes to beat you at the rim. If Duncan Robinson is going to beat you at the rim, you're going to tip your cap and say, it is what it is. Good play. Stop giving this guy an open shot. Stop giving him and Strus chances. All right? That is one thing that has to change. Force those guys to beat you at the rim. Put the ball on the ground. That's got to be the defensive game plan going forward.
Yeah. It's that simple. I mean, that's all it is. I'm stoked for Game 3. I wish it wasn't fucking Saturday. I wish it was tomorrow night. But it probably works out considering tomorrow's Cinco de Mayo and you're going to be about 13 margaritas deep by the time tip would have been.
Absolutely. One of my favorite holidays. All right.
He says that literally every holiday.
Shout out to the Hispanic culture.
Shout out.
For giving this to us Americans.
Yeah.
Throw back all the cervezas tomorrow, all the margaritas, have all the chips and salsa possible. Have yourselves a day.
Have it.
Because come Saturday, it's back to war. And we need that, man. We need Game 3 more than I need oxygen. Because a wise man once said, cue it up, Pope.
We are the New York Knicks!
We are the New York Knicks!
one of the greatest songs ever created. Go New York, go New York, go!
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 Game 3, baby. Time to take it. We're going down to Miami. We're going to the 305. And we're ready to fuck up the Heat, baby. Basement Sports. I'm Corey Lansky. This is Matt Pollard. We'll see you guys.
Because 23 is the Knickerbocker season!